Magic the Gathering players, we are a weird bunch of, well, weirdos, if I'm honest. And sometimes I think it's good if we just self-reflect and kind of mock ourselves a little bit. So in today's video, under the recommendation of my good friend John, I'm going to be rating every type, that's right, every type of Magic player in a tier list on Tier List Maker. Now, this video isn't meant to be mean-spirited, but I'm definitely going to be dunking on some people because some of these categories I really don't like. But some of them I love, and some of them are me. And I'm still going to dunk on them. So if you see yourself in one of these, tag yourself down below. Let's do a bit of self-reflection and growth by tagging yourself in the comments below with which player you are. And a quick message from today's sponsor, it's Axion Now's Commandfest UK. I'll be there June 24th to 25th in London at the Magic Fest, at the Commandfest, playing Magic and meeting you all. There's a link in the description below. The event is going to be having not just Commander, but there'll be drafts of the new Lord of the Rings set, as well as two-headed giant mystery booster sealed. There will be vendors there, there'll be a cosplay competition, there's going to be a world-renowned Titus Lutner, who's been on this channel before with me as well, one of the local artists. So by local, I mean he's in Europe. He's in the old world, not America. Hit up the link in the description below, and I'll see you there for some magicking and some gathering. Right, let's start off this tier list. We've got Hall of Fame, always in the pod, Bearable, Port Tio, and DCI Jail. DCI Jail being the worst, even though it's green, and Hall of Fame being the best, even though it's red. Don't ask, I didn't make the tier list. Right, shout out to John T for making it for me. Let's give it a go. 10 EDH decks, but only plays one. Okay. That's me. Quite a few of these are going to be me. I've built a lot of decks in a recent time because I really enjoyed Commander over the last couple of months. So I built like 5+ decks in the last month or two, and I keep playing just the new ones, mainly Jehoiva actually, and Abdul Adrian, my two favorites, and then jumping back to Chatova. So I don't just play one, but I definitely don't play all the ones I've built recently. I think this comes from a good place. I think deck building in itself is actually kind of a hobby, if I'm honest. So I think building a lot of decks but only playing some of them is also perfectly fine. It's not really harming anyone. There is a subcategory here for the people who make it their personality, that they have 25,000 Commander decks but only play one. But anyone who makes one facet of Magic their personality, like someone who always plays D&T, for example, is an arsehole anyway. My deck is a 7. Okay, I'm going to put this in Bearable, because although the statement is funny and we should ridicule it, I think most players fall into this. It's very rare that a player says anything below a 7. I've rarely ever heard a player say, yeah, my deck's a steaming pile of dog shit. It's definitely a fucking 1. And on the flip side, no one ever says it's an 8. Well, 8s sometimes. 9s and 10s, very rarely. Let's be honest, when you say it's a 10, you're setting yourself up for a fall because you get steamrolled by the fucking table. Everyone says it's a 7, therefore my deck is a 7, it's every Magic player, therefore ergo hitherto it's going in Bearable. The F&M angle shooter is a pain in the arse. I'm going to put them in the reports to the TO. Actually, no, I am. I'm not going to put them in Bearable. I don't want to really dunk on them too much, even though I do fucking hate angle shooting, because if they're angle shooting at F&M to get an advantage, it probably means that it's coming from a place of insecurity and I need to prove something, and thus I can't be too frustrated or upset with them. However, story time, I once had a player who didn't understand how Split Second worked. They believed if they cast Angel's Grace in front of a spell, once Angel's Grace resolved, no one could respond to said spell. So for example, they would Angel's Grace, and then they would cast Ad Nauseam, and then the opponent would try to counter the Ad Nauseam, like, no, split seconds means you can't. I explained to that player that's not the case. Fast forward a week or two later, it happened again at F&M at Modern, and I had to explain it again. And if I'm actually really thinking about it, that's not angle shooting. I think they're just a big fucking cheater. Cheaters go to DCI Jail. They are the worst of the worst. Angle shooting is just people trying to... Actually, I guess angle shooting is kind of unsporting. Okay, I'm putting it towards the bottom of the report to TO Jail, but I can't put it in DCI Jail. Refused the trade because of a 5-cent deficit. Oh my goodness gracious me. Okay, some people want to get the most bang for their buck out of their hobby because they haven't got that many dollars to their name. So that's something I respect. Again, it's coming from a good place, kinda. However, my time is really fucking valuable. So now I've come to this situation where I try and make sure the trade is always in the other person's favor so I can avoid someone wasting the precious parts of my mortal coil that are slipping away as we argue over 5 fucking cents. Just take the Fleece Mane Lion. Just take it. It's extra value. Go away. Questionable anime sleeves. Trigger, put on some blurred out anime waifu here. We mean perverts, right? We aren't talking like somebody with a berserk playmat where he's disemboweling his opponent and it's violence. This is always, when we talk about questionable anime sleeves, we're talking about anime waifus with gratuitous side boob or under tit. And there's a time and a place to get your rocks off and have a good old wank to some anime waifu shit if that's what you're into. That time and place isn't right now whilst I'm trying to resolve my fact or fiction. In the bin, DCI fucking jail. The Arena Whale. Arena Whales, I know a few, and we always want to make sure that everyone knows how much they spend on Magic, and we see this across the hobby in general. It's kind of like a bragging right to talk about how expensive your hobby is. We see it in Magic and card games, we see it in Warhammer 2. It's a flex. I don't like it. I prefer humility to bragging. I get braggadocio on the channel as part of the persona, but ultimately I like it when people aren't like flashing their disposable income in your face. If you're not putting in my panty liner to pay me, and you can give me your fucking money, there's a link to Patreon in the description below, then shut the fuck up. I don't care how many sleeves you've bought on a digital client that's fleecing you. I'm gonna put you at the bottom of Report to the TO. The player who watches for 2 turns, then offers some advice, also known as Twitch chat. They often don't play the format, they don't know what deck we're on, and they have seen hardly anything. They don't know what we're playing around. And then they'll tell us to cast a sorcery speed spell at instant speed. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up. I think I would have put this somewhere in Report to TO originally, but because of my time streaming on Twitch, and how frustrating it can be to have chat have no idea what they're doing, but still be really fucking certain. And the comment section of YouTube videos are no better. I'm putting you in DCI jail. People who give you free cards from their trade binder. I've known loads of these people. I knew guys who used to give away so much shit at FNM, and I always wondered if it was their way of trying to make friends. And that bit's a bit tragic and a bit sad, honestly. I wish that wasn't the case. But often it came from a good place. It would help out newer players get into it. Sometimes they'd be taken advantage of by the players who could already afford all the stuff they need, would take some of this free real estate as well. That used to piss me off. So the player that takes up the offer when they don't need it bugs me more. These people do make me feel bad when I'm just trying to explain to them, like, you know, my job is making content around Magic, so I don't need your free handouts. I feel bad taking them. Someone else should have them. So I think it comes from a good place, but I'm only going to put them at the top of bearable, or the bottom of always in the pot, because it creates this weird awkwardness for me, perhaps because taking handouts is difficult sometimes, and especially in the flesh when they're trying to hand you something that's expensive, it's a bit weird. I'll put them at the bottom of always in the pod. I think they're coming from a good place, so I can't just put them in bearable. Lets you borrow their good decks. These people are the backbone of a local community. These players are helping people to get involved with things like Modern and Legacy by just lending out decks. These people are the absolute based ultra chads of the Magic community. These are Hall of Fame, up there, 100%. Give them a ring, make them kiss it, and make me kiss it. I don't know, put them in the hall. The ask to borrow everything, dice, pens, and tokens, etc., also known as the pro player. It's the thing I've noticed with entry-level pros when I've seen them at GPs and stuff, is that they'll bring almost fucking nothing. They'll have their deck and that's it, and they'll borrow things from their opponent. I think it's to travel light and have less to worry about, but it puts so much on your opponent to deal with stuff. Borrowing everything, I think is kind of shitty. I've got worse at it recently and in recent time because I carry so much stuff with me to events. Usually I've got like tokens to give away with my face on it and pens and shit. I'm a disorganized mess at the best of times, that extra added baggage. But I go out of my way to not have to borrow anything but maybe dice. Maybe dice. There's gonna be people in the comments now who I've borrowed things from at events and I'm gonna fucking list it out and it's gonna be so funny. I'm gonna put them at the bottom of bearable. If they're legitimately just gonna borrow, oh, let's borrow everything, fuck it, report to the TO. Battle of Wits in EDH, fine, go off king. I'm gonna put you at the bottom of always in the pod. I love it if you've got a weird house rule that you want to play with an interesting deck that's gonna make it for a fun environment. But if you're playing Battle of Wits and you're tutoring a lot, I'm gonna be frustrated. You better be fast at shuffling, bitch. It's funny that John made this because Burnbeck as a personality was a friend of ours that we played with a lot. I think it's okay. You know, if you don't want to learn to grow and develop as a player, that's fine. Just don't fucking spend your time talking to me about it. I want to put them at the top of Report to the TO. They're at the bottom of bearable. Magic the Gathering content creators. Woof, they're the fucking worst. Let's put them in the bin. However, maybe we should extrapolate on that. I joke that we're the worst, but we are just human beings, but we also do a lot of this stuff of talking to camera. So I think Magic the Gathering content creators, probably almost everything glancing at this could be, I know of a content creator who might like be one of these things. So I'm gonna put them in bearable, like smack bang in the middle of bearable, because they're just normal Magic players, but they've got a platform where they play a bit more or have a louder voice shouting about come into the aether. Like me. Cut your deck way too many times. Whatever, dude, whatever. Like, whatever tickles your stink. Mid-tier, bearable, I don't give a fuck. Addicted to discourse on Twitter already. I'm pretty sure John has put this one in to fucking needle me. It is me. I'm gonna put it in bottom of Report to TO. It's almost as bad as DCI JL because I know I'm a fucking victim of this. I know I'm an addict, and like I will even go on my Discord and claim and be upset about how dumb the discourse is. But there I am, lapping it up like some fucking, what's the thing that eats a lot of stuff? A cat. Talks about the EV of a set, but doesn't understand what that means. That's most Magic players. But the reason I'm not going to put it in the bog standard in the middle, like I'm doing with like my deck as a 7 or Magic the Gathering content creators, the reason I'm going to put it a bit lower is because a lot of finance bros will talk about the EV without actually really knowing what the fuck it means. It's quite a complicated thing to figure out what the expected value of opening a pack really is. Look at the conversations on Aftermath at the moment, for example. The bottom of bearable, almost in the bin. More trade binders than F&M wins, based. If you are enjoying trading, collecting, and bringing these folders to show people at F&M, more power to you. That's way more fulfilling than trying to win through an angle shoot or some shit. I'm gonna put them top of always in the pot. They always tend to be good people too. Like, they might be odd, but how many of us aren't odd? We're all fucking odd, right? We're playing a trading card game, for fuck's sake. Complains about curling foils, buys collector boosters anyway. That's every single cunt that collects Magic, and I think we really need to reflect on that and grow from that. I'm gonna put them at the top of the report to the TO. Lets people draft a box for free. These people, like the ones who run out decks, are the backbone of getting players to be able to play Magic. Not only are they giving out some free real estate, some free EV, to use the term incorrectly, they are also facilitating a gaming experience similar to borrowing decks. They are top tier alpha chads. I don't even know if I'm using alpha chad correctly. I don't fucking know. Sticking them in the Hall of Fame. Always late complaints about game 1 loss. I'm always fucking late, but I don't complain when I get a loss for it. Bottom of bearable. I don't know. They're a character. It doesn't bug me that much. Only offers help when asked for. In a world of Magic players who want to tell you what you didn't or did do wrong because they know better than you when they probably don't, I think this is an interesting and probably positive trait. However, I do think there is some merit to learning to read the social cues of understanding when people might need help, but they're too afraid, too modest, or too embarrassed to ask. Whether that be sideboarding advice, borrowing something like a card or a deck, or something more severe like understanding something that they don't understand with a bit of input could help them enjoy their time more. I'm going to put this high up because I think minding your own business is great, but I also think helping out your community members when they're too afraid to ask is also a positive thing. Like, no motherfucker asked me to make most of the videos that I made. I've got to just be a loud person on the internet. So I guess in some ways, I'm asking the people who are reserved enough not to be overbearing to sometimes step up and help people grow or help a community grow. I want to put them at the bottom of always in the pod, but I don't think they're perfect. Says in response to everything, this is just a way of newer players feeling like they're in the know with lingo. I feel like they know what they're doing when it comes to Magic. I'm going to put them in the top of report to the TO. I'm not a fan of it, but it's almost harmless. Almost. Doesn't run any interaction and complains anyway. The majority of casual players, and even the ones that go from casual to being a bit more entrenched and build their decks around lists they find online, still don't play enough or complain about it anyway. Top of TO jail. Maybe it's a bit more frustrating than the buying curled foils or saying in response to everything. Jund never dies, bro. This guy, this person, this player is a fellow boomer, and I can respect that. Boomer sees boomer, okay? I'm putting you always in the pod. You got your Jund out playmat and you still think Tarmogoyf is good. I respect you. You used to be my enemy when I hated playing as Jund, playing as a green-white D&T back in the day. But you know what? We're now friends. We're frenemies. Rules advisor who acts like a level 3 judge. Pretty sure we got a couple of these on my Discord. Ultimately harmless, but please do shut the fuck up and let someone else speak sometimes. Report to the TO. We are getting a lot of negatives here. Let's get some positives. Lore Masters. Slamming them in Hall of Fame. If you spend the time to decipher the nonsensical bollocks that is the Magic the Gathering storyline and answer questions from me or someone else online for that, you are a hero and you deserve your spot in the Hall of Fame. Entire deck in foreign languages. Doesn't remember what cards do. This is fine. I'm going to put it in bearable, below almost the report to TO, because foreign language cards are often cheaper, especially in Europe. So it does make sense to make your deck cheaper, and I'm all for that accessibility. However, story time. I did want to have a player at a GP, and I've done a video on this before, I think. I talked about this in one of my storytime videos, but someone tried to tell me that their Blastoise card gave first strike, when it actually gives, it'll be on screen now, lifelink and death touch, not first strike. I knew that because it was in French. Actually, I might have been in German and my opponent was French. They tried to scum me. Get fucked, scrub. I know what Basilisk Collar does. Wishes Legacy wasn't a dying format. Bang. Hall of Fame. Kindred spirit to me. You have got my heartstrings tugged with that one, John. I am one of those people. We're the boomers who want the old formats not to die. And it's a shame that Wizards don't feel the same way. Buys a new deck every time they lose. I'm going to say it, this is just for you, John. It's Teo, right? I wonder if you'll watch this video. It's Teo. He used to buy decks, a friend of ours. I love that boy. But he used to buy and sell out of decks and buy other decks all the fucking time in a rage when he couldn't win some games with it. And it was very funny. It was like a meme in our play group. I'm going to stick him in. Ultimately harmless. It's very funny. Maybe the salt was annoying to deal with, but if you get a player like that isn't so salty, fuck it. Let them do what they want. Whatever makes them feel happy. Mana weaves and mana shuffles swears it's randomized. Oh, fuck me. Okay, I talked about this in a video recently. I'm going to do a full-on video talking about this shuffling method in a week or two's time when I get back from the States. But fuck me. People are convinced that they need to mana weave, then mash and say that the mana weaving did something, or saying that it's fully randomized when they only mana weave. Shut the fuck up. It's cheating. Literally, if you know the placement of any of your cards, if you haven't actually randomized it, if you sufficiently put 3 spell, 1 land, 3 spell, 1 land, you're cheating. Stop fucking cheating. Into DCI jail, you fucking idiots. And you know what? The problem is I'm saying fucking idiots. It's such a large percentage of you that think mana weave and mana shuffling is good. I really need to. It's my personal mission. It's my crusade to put this to bed. Buys the most expensive meta deck, doesn't know how it works. Woo! Okay, this is the definition of an actual net decker. It's not the one that's going to come up in a minute. Net deckers are people who've got a list online and they don't have to play it. And in all fairness, that's everyone picking up a new deck. So I'm not going to hate on these people. I'm going to put them in bearable, somewhere in the mid-tier, maybe below the guy who always is late and complains about a game loss, but has given someone a free win anyway. I think buying into a deck and not knowing how it works is the base place you begin from when learning a new deck. We laugh about it, we joke about it, we think about how it's no skill or money, but in reality, you don't know a deck until you've played it. Give people a chance. Blames losses on net deckers. These people are the fucking worst. I think they're going to be, we've got more to go, but I think they're going to be the bottom tier here. Like, if you just lose and complain about net decks, you are being a fucking scrub. I'm just going to say it like that, right? You should worry more about the cards in your hand and how you're playing them than the cards in your opponent's hand. Because sometimes self-reflection and learning and developing and growing as a player is much better than blaming the imaginary boogeyman of fucking net deckers. In essence, net decking does exist, that it's people taking lists from online and then having to learn them. That does exist. Using the wealth of human knowledge to understand how things work is good. Like taking a recipe from online, for example, when you're cooking. It's perfectly fine. If chefs and cooks complain about net cooks, they'd sound like fucking unhinged assholes. So blaming your losses on things like variants or even worse, net deckers is the most cringe shit in the game. Stop it. And there's a certain YouTuber I'm not going to say by name, they don't like the card negate, and they used to moan about this shit all the time, and it was embarrassing. Tries to gotcha judges with obscure interactions questions. That's me. Every other week I'm like, judges on my Discord, what happens if I like stick a thumb up my arse and fart into the wind? But I'm gonna put this, I know I'm being annoying, but it's part of the fun. Some of it is actually some of the judges I want to try and tease them and make fun. It's fun. It's part of the, it's fun, right? Oh fuck, this is self-reflective. I want to put myself in DCI jail here. I need to stop doing this. Because the judges always win. I never fucking win. Pretends to understand organized play structure. I'm going to abstain from putting this one in, because I've not met a single person who does pretend to understand what's going on with organized play right now. Does not exist. It is the unicorn. It is the golden whale. What the fuck am I on about? It's the unicorn of magic. All promos, foils, and a pauper deck. That is dedication. That is love for the craft. Top of always in the pod, more power to you, as long as you're not flexing about it. I don't give a fuck about your bling if you're flexing. Gives away their prize boosters. I'm going to put them in the Hall of Fame as well. Above Wasn't Legacy, above Lawmaster 2. These people, again, if it's like a flex about how much money you have, I don't give a fuck. But if you're just giving away, free EV, to use it wrong again, to people, it's helping facilitate other players getting into the game. Kids and new players who are less experienced, have less of a collection, being able to play. I think you're the valuable asset to this community. You're an MVP. Discusses obscure pro players and Hall of Famers like their buddies. Fucking hell. It's cool. It's cool that, I don't know, fucking Brian Kibler played at your store once when you were like 10. I don't give a fuck. Shut up. Bottom of report to TO. Treats F&M like a Pro Tour final. I imagine this is the same as the fucking angle shooter. Where do I put the angle shooter? I want to put them there. It's cool that you want to engage with the game at a high level. Just go beyond F&Ms. I guess the problem here is that we can't shit on these people too much because F&M is kind of the upper level of where you can get to, right? RCQs or RQs or whatever the fuck they are, I'm not going to pretend I understand organised play, are harder to get to in Europe than they are in America, for example, because they're all in Italy for some fucking reason. It's hard to play beyond F&M now. So it makes people taking it a bit more seriously and sweating out F&M as their competitive mind exercise less of a problem for me. Once the rare redraft doesn't use sleeves, fuck, that would annoy me. Okay, so rare redrafting is when you draft in a pod and at the end, the winner you put all the rares out on the table and the winner gets to pick a card from the pool and then you go round from first place down to last and repeat until all the rares are gone. That way, as an incentive to play the draft without rare drafting, taking the draft yourself, and an incentive for someone to do well as well. And then you can give out the spare pack, everyone gets a pack or whatever, instead of putting it top of your prize for packs. Or whatever you want to do with your distribution. Either way, rare redrafting was my favourite thing to do when I used to want to play competitive drafts with people at my university, in my games clubs and stuff, whilst also growing my collection when I didn't have a huge amount of money to invest in Magic. I think it's a good way to play the game, but the idea that you would then riffle, shuffle or some shit without sleeves and ruin their cards and then want a rare redraft gives me the heebie-jeebies. So this person is terrible. Cards shouldn't be over $20, complains about reprints. This sounds like confused finance bros. I want to put this towards the upper end of report to TO. I've been saying it recently that I want cards, like the accessible cards, to be under $20. I want them to be really fucking cheap, and then have the reprinted expensive chase variants be in the foiling and the alternate frame treatments. And that's a fair thing to say, and I guess these two statements could also mean that. So I don't think it's that bad. You know what? No, I'm going to leave it there. No sleeves, no playmat, riffle, shuffler. Look, there's two types of these people. One, a true agent of fucking chaos. And two, someone bragging about how much money they've got, but they don't care about the expensive cost of some of these cardboard. If you're an agent of chaos, Hall of Fame, fuck it. Do what you want. Be what you want to be as a force in this world. If you're a flexer, fuck off, DCI jail. So for that reason, I'm going to put them in bearable. We've all done it, right? We've all played with no sleeves, no playmat, riffle, shuffle when we were kids too, when we were newer to Magic. So in some ways, we've all been there. Except riffle shuffle. I still can't riffle shuffle to this day. Pro Tour aspirations but hard to suck silver. You know what? If you're aspiring to do something, good on you. Just get in the top of it. I think some of these players can be frustrating to play with and against, the people you know, the ones you never really got to be on the Pro Tour regularly. But I think aspiring to be on the Pro Tour is a healthy thing to do. I think that's a thing that I want to see more in Magic, so I'm not going to mock them too hard for trying to and not quite getting there. Uses Rule 0 to ban cards they hate. Not as bad as neck deck blamers, but on the whole, if you aren't willing to improve or play around with things and just want to try and house rule away cards you don't like, you're probably a bit of a scrub. So I'm going to stick you in DCI jail just above fucking moaning about net deckers. Plays their ancient standard deck in Modern. Boomer. I mean, it's giving you a bad game of Modern. If you get to play 3 games of Modern a week and you're playing against a standard deck that you absolutely smash, it's a bit frustrating. Bottom of bearable. Plays a standard deck in Modern just to hang out. A bit worse than the ancient one, because you're not just trying to relive former glories. You're just there to hang out, but you're also making the games worse. And I also think that perhaps you should spend your money on investing in Modern if there's a local play scene instead of Standard, because it's a better investment with your money as well. So you're a bit worse than the person hanging on to former glories. Always let you take back a bad move. I'll put you at the bottom of always in the pod. I think it's a very good and sporting way to play Magic, especially with newer players. I do think there's merit to enfranchised and aspiring pros and better players trying to teach themselves to live with their mistakes. So always getting a takesy backsy can be damaging in that sense. But I think that for the most part, we should start from a position of letting people take things back and learning before we move on to the hard and fast, sorry, you fucked up. Theme and meme decks only. The bottom of bearable. I've known some people in the past, I used to make content like this, right? And it's fine, it's funny sometimes, but when you hear about your Ox Matters deck, Oxes only, oops all Oxes for like the 5th or 6th time, I'm just like, okay, come on dude, I've heard this before. Stacked trade binder but refuses to trade. It's just flexing, let's put them down here. Fuck that shit. Has trade binder? No, I'm not trading for that. That's worse than stacked trade binder and refusing to trade, because this person is coming in with a idea that we might trade. They are leading me on by false pretenses. We're not in the same fucking boat or even the same lake, or boats on the lake. I don't know. We're not even coming in with the same perception of what's going on. At least if you're stocked and not trading, I know it's happening. If this is like, I'm not trading that, you're just wasting my fucking time. Oh, and the last but not least, or perhaps least, just need to play limited to get your wild cards. I think this is not as bad as net deckers. It's not as bad as using Rule 0 to ban cards that you hate. But it's almost as bad. These are the people that whenever I talk about how the Magic the Gathering online economy is shit, or the arena economy is even fucking worse, especially someone who wants to come in, drop a bit of money and just play constructed Magic because that's what I want to do, they tell me to play limited, to just draft, and it is tiring. It is fucking boring. I'm sick of hearing this shit come out of the mouths of people. I don't even think it's true. I don't even think that when you sip the free-to-play Kool-Aid, it's as free-to-play as you think it is. Especially considering that time is valuable just like money is. Don't tell me to draft when what I want to do is play constructed. It's not fucking helpful. And that is the tier list, my friends. That is every Magic the Gathering player listed. Did I miss an archetypal Magic the Gathering player? Tell me in the comment section below. We could update this, but we won't. And let me know which one of these most accurately describes you. And if you are a Blaine's Losses on NetDeckers player, I hope you find this humiliating enough to admit that in the comment section that you can grow as a person. I've been Vince, so PleasantKenobi on the internet. Smash that like button. Let me know if you want to see more tier lists from me with stupid fucking topics. And I'll see you all in the next one. Ta-ta for now.